Through doing the inquiry work, I think each time I become a better and better parent coach, because each individual story, each individual parent, you learn from their story.
Now, if you look at the changes that have been occurring in the nonprofit sector for the last few years, a lot of effort, attention has been paid to measurement, outcomes, metrics, and above all else, impact. And what most people mean by impact these days is what is the enduring change that you're contributing to among the people that you work with, and how in some way that change is rolled up into some larger societal change. And the way that most organizations measure their results in these kinds of efforts is using widely established benchmarks. But those measures really don't tell the whole story. We're also interested in what are behind those numbers, or what is the context that is missing when you just look at any given percentage of kids that meet that benchmark or can read by the end of 3rd grade. How many of those kids have become lifelong learners? How many of those kids have developed an inner sense of strength and power that they can take on the next and the next and the next educational challenge? Have we identified all the things that they need and the supports that they need to be successful?
I think it's helped us really look at what's important to the people that we serve. So we're really invested in hearing their voice and hearing what they need on the ground level, and to understand what the barriers or challenges are for them to be able to access those resources, to get where they want to be in the community and in their lives, and to be able to address some of those with them. So being able to incorporate their voice and their feedback.
When Rika came in to my life, it was a very welcoming feeling, and it's just a feeling that you're not by yourself anymore so much. You know, I think it has a lot to do with it when you have somebody come every week that you actually can talk to and be like a friend, you know. It helps a lot for the emotional being, it really does. Sometimes you say, oh, what am I going to do? And then you say, oh, I got Rika. That helps.
Doing the inquiry work with my clients helped me go beyond the curriculum, which we're trained in. Going beyond the nurturing parenting curriculum, it helped me really understand each individual client and what each individual client was feeling while we were going through that process. So it just wasn't the motions of learning each week to week, each lesson. It was, how did they feel about learning those new skills, and how did they feel about transforming themselves as parents?
Before parent education, I definitely didn't know how to care for myself, and I kind of just went through the routine of day-to-day things. I didn't focus on the individual situations and the individual things that my children needed. I just went through the routine, and I didn't enjoy being a parent. I didn't know how to enjoy being a parent because I felt like every situation was a negative. And now I can look at things in a positive way and just know that I'm teaching my children how to be effective, you know, eventually as adults. They were interested in things that I didn't know that they were interested in before, and that they really enjoyed when I read to them, which I didn't do before parent education because I didn't know how important it was. And I learned that they like to do things with me, not just with each other or by themselves, that I didn't know that they liked. And now I know that it's so important to teach them different skills and how to handle different situations, because once they've learned that, they can use it in the future, and they can use it now as well.
So through this inquiry work, it's felt that we've come up with a lot of great ideas of what else we can do and different experiments that we can do with the program Ready, Set, Go and with our families. But it's also validated everything that we've been doing for the past few years in Ready, Set, Go. And it's validated the family stories and the family structures, that change that we've been doing within the community as well, in schools. Not only within Ready, Set, Go, but how parents have become leaders and taken all of these tools that we've been giving them and taking them into their schools, incorporating that, and them becoming advocates and leaders.
I always think that we can make a lot of changes to Charles and to everyone else just by modeling. Like, when they see how well you're doing or how your life changed totally, they're like, oh, I want to know what she's doing or why she's doing that, or what it is, you know, everybody want to get into it.
I feel that I see a new woman. I see Elsa becoming more than just a role model for her family, but a role model for the Latino culture, a role model for the schools, the role model for many, many things. Ready, Set, Go is doing this. Ready, Set, Go is changing lives. Ready, Set, Go is having an impact on the long term with families and changing the family structure.
I think that the nature of our work is about depth, and it's about deep relationships that create incremental change, a series of incremental changes that build to something much bigger. And that depth comes from this type of inquiry, these types of questions.
There's definitely been a lot of progress. I know that if I never would have gotten involved in this program, never would have went to that meeting, my credit would probably be really bad. I probably would be, if not in the same financial situation, if not worse, because at that time mentally I wasn't educated. And I wasn't ready to get advice from somebody. So since then, I've definitely built on my credit. Is it where I want to be at? No, but what I do understand, what I've learned in the process of budgeting, it takes time. And I am seeing the progress in that, and I'm able to, eventually pass that down to my kids once they start getting involved in cars and budgeting, and credit cards are coming at them, and utility bills and whatnot. I'll be able to educate them in this situation that, okay, this is what I learned. I want to give this to you before you put yourself in a position where I was at. Because honestly, I do not know what would have happened if I wasn't introduced to this.
I am very honored to work for a place that's values-driven in such a way that I'm convinced that MFS, Metropolitan Family Service, does exactly what it says it does in moving lives forward.
So again, it's the context that's not often measured. And it's precisely that context that we need to begin to learn how to measure effectively, and measure rigorously. And for me, and for MFS, it's hard not to ask, what if more organizations like Metropolitan Family Service sought after and measured these kinds of things, and that we truly understood the context in which change occurs? What else could we accomplish? What other results could we achieve?